going to crash. Computer just blows up.
We're live there. We're live there. All right.
We are live?
We are live.
We are? Wow.
Hello, guys. Wow. Welcome to the new format. We'll call this the new format because this will be, we are going to put it into a podcast for you guys to enjoy later. And that might, I looked it up, and of course they say your first podcast can take a few weeks to go through, but that's okay.
We got time.
We've got time
for a while.
And then we'll hopefully, I think once they get you like verified and stuff, you can pretty much have them go essentially live almost instantly. So anyway, but we are now streaming on YouTube and Facebook. And so either platform, welcome. Appreciate you guys joining us. So this new format, we wanted to, we've been doing kind of just an open format. And this one we really wanted to go more over like, kind of industry news, what's going on with us and with Rally Sport. And, here soon we'll be able to have guests on and stuff like that. So that'll be cool. I'm really excited for that. But currently here at Rally Sport Direct, we have a big sale, our spring sale, which is 10% off using code TAKE10. That's TAKE and the number 1 and 0. Basically, it's just a site-wide sale. Of course, restrictions do apply on certain items that, because there are certain companies that
have MAP policies that we can't do anything.
That we can't do anything about. And that's just fine because that's, we love MAP policies actually because it keeps the industry from, the guy in the basement making
everything ends up being $1.
Everything, the dude's making like 50 cents. But the big thing is, actually this, I guess I'm not surprised, but Method Racing Wheels being 20% off. We've had so many people buy them, and
they've been flying off like crazy. I have no idea. That's
really
insane.
Cool and obviously those are some Method wheels behind me there. Method makes the Vermont Spec rally wheels that the Subaru Rally of America runs on their car, and they're really cool. Airlift performance up to 20% off. If you want to, have that airlift life, then you can definitely do that. Which actually we're going to Scrape Fest. Oh my gosh, Scrape Fest on Sunday. So if you guys are local here in Utah, you can join us there. I'll try to do some
Facebook Live.
Yeah, I'll probably try to do some streaming out there, and I'll bring a nice camera. We'll get some cool shots for you guys. So even if you're out of country, look for a video or something on YouTube later on. Race Comp Engineering, free $100 gift card with the purchase of coilovers or struts, which is really cool. They utilize Bilstein dampers, which are
this does end soon.
And that does end very soon. We are giving away our STI plus $5,000 cash money. How this works: for every $5 you spend on our website, www.rallysportdirect.com, you get one automatic entry. Ends April 10th, so it's coming up very soon. And that's really
less than 3 weeks. We got
very,
like 18 days or something like that.
If you are wanting to order, take advantage of the 10% off or any of the other sales that we have going on. Get yourself the ability to enter in.
Well, buy that car part that you're going to buy anyways.
Right. Yeah. I mean, don't. It's funny. I actually had a kid. Oh, I didn't know Cosworth was still around. Just kind of like, they're more of the normal car people. And then one kid came up who didn't know anything about cars really, but he just thought it was really neat. And so I sat and talked with him for a while, and I'm like, you can actually win this car. And he's like, wait, what?
I can win this car?
Yeah, I can win this car. And so I told him how, and he went on, and I think he bought an air freshener or something like that, like on the spot, which is kind of, but that's the thing. You can literally buy an air freshener and you could win a car. So,
well, like I was saying, like some people have a ton of entries, and there's some people who have one. And that person with a one entry can win. Yeah, they have. Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say as good of a chance. Obviously, the more entries you have, the better chance you have of winning. But we treat all entries the same. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then also BF Goodrich and Michelin are having a mail-in rebate, $60 and $70, if I remember correctly. Is it 60?
70 for Michelin and 60 for BF.
Which is pretty killer. Like the Michelin tires, I've been so pumped. Ever since the Pilot Supersports came out, I'm a huge fan. And then of course, like with the new 4Ss, like holy cow. I haven't run the 4Ss yet, but I'm really excited to put those on a car.
Really wanting to.
Yes, very, very excited to run those, which I just think is really cool. So anyway, so the again, with the new format. So I wanted to get the cell stuff out of the way.
Yep.
Yes, out of the way. A couple things I want to talk about. So Mazda, I know they've had their Skyactiv X engine for a while now.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I was thinking about this. I always talk about electric cars, and I'm not opposed to electric cars in any way, shape, or form. But I'm also a huge fan of internal combustion engines. Yeah. Like just the sound, the feel, there's something about it that you just can't get out of an electric car. And I will be the first one to say that electric cars will surpass internal combustion engine cars as far as performance, longevity, reliability, distance, in the near future. Like it can't be too far. I mean, we're talking probably well under a decade.
Well, look at the big step right now with the Tesla 3 is coming out. That's where it's going to go into a more of a mass market because there's over 300,000 pre-orders for that car. Yeah. And you got to think, that's really one of the big first solid stepping grounds because it's affordable.
They say I mean, to me still, what is it, 40 something thousand?
No, they're 30s.
But that's for the base model. Yeah. No one wants the base model because the difference between the base model and the next step up is a big difference because you get the faster motors, you get the extended batteries, you get a lot more. I can't remember all the exact specs on it, but you get quite a bit more for that step up. And so I think for most people, if they're going to be, but maybe you're right though. Maybe a lot of people even just buying the base model because first of all, it's a Tesla. It's like buying an Apple product. I think at this point,
it's good.
It's good, right? It has the brand behind it. People are excited about the brand. It does what it's supposed to do. It's for the mass market. They're still small enough though that people complain and they listen and they take action quickly and they can fix things quickly.
Well, you heard what happened with Tesla just yesterday. They got their approved investment budget of $56 billion.
So they're going to be growing rapidly, which is really cool. But anyway, so the ability for Mazda to come in and say, we support electric cars. It's not like Mazda's against it, but the engineers at Mazda are like, how can everyone's going, it seems like electric's the easy way out, right?
Easy way out.
The easy way out. So Mazda, I applaud them because first of all, Mazda has always been kind of the weird Japanese car company that's still around.
And it's like the scientists who still wear the lab coats, right? Huddle around the table and they're like, let's just order takeout again. Yeah, we got to figure this out.
The fact that they came out with the Skyactiv X. So basically what it is, if you don't know, the Skyactiv X engine is a combination of a normal gasoline engine with the theory of combustion of diesel. And it can go in between, it can basically go either full gasoline, like, spark, bang, piston goes down, normal stuff, or it can go full diesel, which is basically using zero spark and it just squishes so tight that it pre-ignites the air fuel mixture inside the combustion chamber. Just basically explodes due to the heat and the pressure with no spark, or it can do a mixture of both where the spark, it'll give just a baby spark, just a little spark just to get that process started. And so you basically think of like the pistons coming up and you have this little baby spark and it's like another piston coming down and they kiss. And then it forces that piston back down. And it's supercharged so that they can really have a lot of control over the pressures inside the cylinder. And I assume they run a ton of other sensors because think about it, like even if the humidity changes, the temperature changes, maybe the 91 octane that you fill up with isn't exactly 91 octane, or maybe it's got 11% ethanol instead of 9%, so there's all these variables that come into play. But however they've been able to do it, they're basically creating this hyper efficient internal combustion engine that can get the efficiency and fuel efficiency of a diesel engine while still using gasoline. And I think that is really cool, and I think it's worth mentioning. And it's something that
they're trying to save the gasoline internal combustion.
Right. And I've been starting to see reviews come out. Just recently, I've been, people have been able to drive like the prototypes, and they say it's pretty normal, but there's nothing spectacular about it. Yeah. But this is the very first one, and it's still in its prototype stages. Imagine what they can do with that once they're able to get that kind of dialed in, honed in, maybe make it a little bit more performance oriented. Yeah. And they're able to get that efficiency, that instant throttle response, and have all that control. I think this could actually lead to some really cool internal combustion engines with the same theory as far as like the cycle and the combustion cycle goes. So I just think that's really cool. But we were talking about Tesla.
Yeah.
The whole wreck, the Tesla,
whole thing in Tempe,
Tesla hitting a pedestrian. So.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I know the internet's all in an uproar about it, but it's worth noting, that these systems are not flawless.
Yeah.
Just like when we stream live, every once in a while there's a hiccup and things can happen, and I always hear people say, they either go one way or the other. They're like, oh, the driver should have been paying attention. Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
The pedestrian shouldn't have been wearing black clothing. Yes.
And going outside of a crosswalk.
And hearing a car come down the road maybe should, there's all these variables that, yes, but the fact is a car hit a pedestrian when it shouldn't have. But you know what? Things happen. And I still think if you were to replace all of the cars on the road with autonomous cars, the death toll would go down significantly. So people can be up in arms about the Tesla hitting a pedestrian, but I'm willing to bet money that the Tesla as a whole is safer than your standard human driver.
Well, look at the statistics that came out that last year, 9,000 something pedestrians were killed by cars. And this is the first one like on a autonomous driving vehicle.
Right. But you also have to think how many fewer autonomous cars are out there compared to standard cars. But that's why I would assume that if you were to replace all standard cars with autonomous vehicles, the accidents, the death tolls would just be so much further or so much lower than where
human error is where a lot of crap happens.
And the thing is the crazy thing about humans is we don't react very well in scary situations.
Yeah.
Like and I feel like I'm really comfortable behind the wheel of a vehicle.
Yeah.
Incredibly comfortable. And even I have had those kind of puckering moments where I will tense up, like something happens and I will tense up and I have to remind myself like, dude, just relax, just drive the car. You know what to do. There's no sense. Before. Yeah. There's no sense in tensing up. And I kind of have to but there'll be a split second where I tense up, where computers don't do that. They don't tense up. They just make calculations and they're like, they take in input from what they're seeing or what their sensors are telling them. And they're making, I don't know what what the actual processing power inside a Tesla is, but I have to imagine it's probably millions of calculations in a second.
Nanosecond.
It can process things so much quicker than the human. I mean, doesn't it take like half a second for a human to be able to see something, it to bounce off that, or like the light to bounce off that into your retina, your brain to process it, and for you to actually and that's a very fast reaction time, is like half a second, I think. If I'm probably
like Formula One drivers, how they're racing, their calculations are down to 0.1 of a second, like 0.3 of a second.
Right.
Where you got to think an autonomous vehicle does that instantly.
Yeah, much quicker. And then your standard Joe Blow driver is probably like 1.5 seconds. Like once he changes the radio station or hits send on his text messages. But yeah, I mean, I do think autonomous vehicles, I mean, I think it's here to stay. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about something more fun.
Okay.
FA24DI.
Oh yeah.
Mother F and T.
Because a lot more information is coming out. You can actually see it now.
You can actually see it. So if you guys have seen the picture of it, you can just Google search Subaru Ascent engine bay, and there are pictures out there, and honestly it looks like an STI engine, and so this is the thing, is the rumor is that it will be in the STI, and I think yes, 100% it's going to be in the STI.
Yeah.
I don't think Subaru can do anything like, I just think that's the engine that is going to be in the STI, hands down. And my favorite thing about it is in the Ascent, it's 260 horsepower. 270 foot-pounds of torque, somewhere right around there.
Yeah, 270.
I actually have the, okay, so it's, it's 277 pound-feet of torque and 260 horsepower. So 260 horsepower at 5,600 RPM, 277 pound-feet of torque. But what's impressive is it's between 2,000 and 5,000 RPM. So you have this super linear torque curve on it, which is incredible. I mean, it basically peaks and then stays flat and then starts to go down. And the fact that they're able to get that out of, still an over square engine and still able to get the fuel economy because I assume, let's see, so it's 94 millimeter bore and 86 millimeter strokes. I'm pretty sure that's over square. You know, but the fact that they're able to get the fuel economy, the EPA rating, all that kind of stuff.
Well, and don't forget the tow capacity on it either.
What's that?
5,000 pounds.
Which is, well, but that's like USA 5,000 pounds. So in Europe, people will be towing like houses and stuff with it. No, I mean, isn't that funny though? And like, so here in America, if like, let's say you had a little pop-up, like a little, like, you know, you see like those little pop-up campers, or you want to tow your dirt bike around, you buy a little trailer for your dirt bike, you go buy like a truck. You know, whether you buy an F-150 or like a Nissan or something or a Toyota, but you go buy a truck. You're like, hey, this is a tow vehicle. You like, I swear, every other country, they're towing it with like a Fiesta. Like they are towing like a full-on like
motorhome.
Yeah, a motorhome with like a Fiesta, and like so I feel like our tow ratings are very, very far off. But yeah, I think that's really exciting. The fact that it's going to be in the STI, and I'm willing to bet we'll see 350 horsepower. 350, 360 foot-pounds of torque, which is what it needs. But Subaru came out recently, that one of their engineers, and said, what do they say?
Bye-bye manual.
Bye-bye manual, potentially. So
that's the rumor, and it's all in the name of safety.
All in the name of safety, but I don't think they're going to get rid of the manual in like the WRX or the STI. The WRX would be the first to go, obviously, because the WRX has just been watered down. Not I'm saying it's a bad car, but it is now a separation of the STI and the, you know, the normal Impreza. But yeah, so there's talk that they're going to get rid of the manual, which is kind of sad, but you know,
it's about time, I guess, if that makes sense. Unless you're looking for a pure enthusiast car.
Yeah.
Like that's where you want the manual in it, but the more and more the cars are sold, the more and more people just want to go fast and be comfortable. Yeah. And that's why the manuals are like, what, 4 or 5% of the cars on the road today are manual?
Yeah. Which, I mean, you know, it makes sense. Most people are buying automatic. And I'll be the first one to say, if I was buying a daily driver, it would be an automatic.
Yeah.
If I'm just buying something, because I'm a big proponent of having a project car and a daily driver. Yeah. Because your project car, if something goes wrong, great. Put it away. Save your money.
Deal with it later.
Work on it later, you know, but do it right. And that's the other thing, is it gives you the time to do it right, to you know, not just hurry and hobble it together with parts that you found in your parts bin, you know, sitting in the corner that you really should have thrown away a long time ago.
It's 10 p.m. and you have work at 5 a.m. You're like, I gotta do this.
I think most people have been there, you know, it's just you've got to, it's crunch time, right? You will do anything to get the car back on. Oh, totally. I mean, zip ties, duct tape, whatever you have that, you know, like, oh no, this hose is going to rub on this belt. I need to get it out of the way. Instead of going and being like, okay, I need to go to I need to order from Subaru this proper part. Yep. No, you hobble it together. Yeah. Or you use bolts that you shouldn't be using because, you know, whatever. It's just, we've all been there. You
just have the 10 spacers to put in there just to make sure it's tight.
Totally. Yeah. Using washers as spacers. I mean, I've been there, but when I have a daily driver and a project car, you don't do that, because you don't run into those problems, because in your mind, you're not like, oh, I need to get this back on the road right now. You say, no, okay, I'm going to look up this part. I'm going to order it. I'll take a break tonight. I'll order it tomorrow morning. And then when it comes in, I'll finish up what I need to do. And it makes it so much easier. But yeah, if my daily driver, it would be an automatic. My fun car would always be a manual, because I just truly, truly enjoy driving a manual.
Well, and here's the other thing that's good, is if you have a project car and a daily car, if daily car breaks, you can take race car.
You can take the race car, yeah. Big shout out to our friends at JDM Legends.
Oh, yes.
So JDM Legends is a local shop here run by Eric Bizak. The Trey Cobb used to, I think, have some involvement in it. I don't know if he still does or not.
I believe he's
Trey Cobb was the owner of Cobb Tuning. I think they kind of started it up together, and I think Eric kind of runs the show now, or I know he 100% runs the show now. I just don't know how much involvement, if any, that Cobb has in it. But they bring over already pretty clean, like anything you want. You want like what are they, the Hasuka or
the old Skylines.
The old Skylines. There we go. I'm not even gonna try to get into the technicalities of it, because that's not my wheelhouse. But that is Eric Bizak's.
And they've been doing it for almost a decade.
His love, like this is his passion and his love. And I always feel bad, because every time I go over there, I spend way too much time in the shop. I always take up way too much of Eric's time, because he's such a nice guy. And like, this is why I'm so stoked, is because if anybody deserves a show on velocity, it's these guys. Like the amount of time dedication, heart, soul, passion. I mean, the fact that they can take a, like if you really wanted this one specific car and their source in Japan is like, all we can find is this rusted out pile of crap, they will make that a brand new car for you if you have the money for it. Like,
and they'll do it, and it's meticulous. Like, he's literally right there with like a toothbrush.
Oh, 100%. And they will find period. If you want like a modified car, they will find you the period correct, everything that you want, and they will refresh it if it needs it. I mean, literally anything you want. If you want an old Japanese car and you don't mind spending the money, the sky's the limit. They will find it for you. They will get it.
They'll find like one of an original made part that's still brand new. And throw it on.
Yeah. I mean, they will go through, but I'm really excited to see this show. And of course, like the intro was a little weird.
Yeah.
I mean, but Velocity's going to velocity it up, and that's fine, but like to be able to see the inner workings of this business that does such a cool thing, and the fact that Velocity even had enough faith that there would be enough people to watch this type of stuff, I think is really cool. I think this speaks volumes to this industry as a whole, and that it is getting more popular and a little bit more mainstream. And now people, growing up, all it was, muscle car TV, and
that's all you had.
But I would watch them. I would watch. I mean, Saturday morning, I would just sit and watch all of those shows.
Road and Track, half an hour.
Right, but that Road and Track was actually really good. But like, that's what I would watch because that's what was on TV. And, I even begged my mom to get the Speed Channel. Remember Speed Channel? Just for shows like that. And, but now the fact that they just have it on, I guess Velocity is a pretty normal network, right?
Velocity is basically all automotive. Like they'll do like the infomercials.
But you don't have to pay like a bunch of extra money. Remember when they took Speed away from the standard cable package?
Yeah, it had to be a special.
Extra? I think Velocity's on the.
I think it's on the standard package.
I think it's on the standard package, but I'm just really excited for them. So go over to their website, JDM Legends.
You can see all their old work. Everything's there.
Yeah, they even have a Hot Wheels car, which is really cool. Their wide body RX-7 is the Hot Wheels turned into a car. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance, just go to Google JDM Legends RX-7 FB.
Yeah,
and you'll see it.
Yeah, it's
black with gold and red stripes.
Eric Bizak, his own personal car that sits for many, many years and collects dust, is a 98 blue 2.5 RS. That's so clean.
Yep.
It's so clean. He was one of the first in the valley to do a WRX swap in his GC, and he's just old school. He's old school cool, and the dude deserves everything. So I'm excited for them. Okay, let's hear your list here, friend.
All right. Well, we already went over the Tesla accident in Tempe. Now we went over JDM Legends just barely. And then the one thing I actually have to ask is that, so BMW, BMW and Toyota are working on the Supra Z4 platform and everything. And the Z4, all the information's been out for almost 8 months.
Right.
The Supra got released, kind of. Do you think that Toyota's kind of being shy about it? Or do you think they're trying to keep everything under wrap until like the week before they release the car?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because to me, it's a little weird how mysterious, how quiet they've been about all the specs on the car. But I mean, you can find them like on Japan, like the motoring thing, but like none of it's confirmed. And like, they don't have the full real version of what the normal Supra is going to look like.
Maybe they don't, I don't know.
Well, and then the other thing that goes into that as well is that, so have you heard the rumor about Nissan doing the 400Z?
Going to be all-wheel drive and... or is that a different?
It's still going to be rear-wheel drive, but they're going to have more closer to the old like 240Z shape.
What? That's cool.
Yeah, like
that's really cool.
And they're because like with the Supra coming out, with that being confirmed, they want to have it to where they can have a competitor, because in that market right there's nothing else besides the Supra.
Yeah, I mean it's true. I mean, as far as like a rear-wheel drive, front engine rear-wheel drive, like proper layout, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll show you real quick.
Proper layouts.
Right
Michael
there.
Brought a M3 to work today, an E46 M3 with the Denon package, and it's been a long time since I've driven an M3.
Yes.
And I've driven, the SMG, which was fun, but it's not my bread and butter, and then a 6-speed that was just a stock M3 6-speed. And it's been a while because it's always been one of those cars where when I was younger, I really wanted one. It was just too expensive and German, and I'm like, no, I'll just stick with my Subarus and my Hondas and my Nissans, my Toyota, And So he brings an M3 to work today, and it's the Phoenix Gold.
Yeah.
Which is, in my opinion, one of the coolest colors.
I love the color.
I love a lot of it's either people hate it or they absolutely love it. And I am definitely on the I absolutely love. Just like the Dakar yellow in the 36 M3.
Yes.
You know, it's like that.
Yes.
It's just a very unique color of yellow. And the Phoenix Gold is like, I wouldn't even call it yellow. It's more like mustard.
Yeah, it's like a Dijon mustard color.
Yeah, but it's really cool. So anyway, so we took it out for a rip, and it really has me thinking, like, is NA better than turbo or better than forced induction?
Yeah.
Because so that car has, let's just throw out 370 horsepower. It might be a little more, might be a little less, but 370 horsepower. The car is perfectly quick. Like it is perfect. Like the amount of power that car has versus its weight versus the suspension versus the tires, like it is right. Everything is just very well balanced right where it needs to be.
Yeah.
You don't need any more power than that.
No.
I mean, yes, more power is fun.
Oh, it's always fun.
But like the sound, so more power is fun, but then you lose the sound of individual throttle bodies and just that wail, that 8,000 RPM inline six wail. Like this engine is giving you everything it's got by itself without anything helping it along. Is naturally aspirated better than forced induction? Because there's also something very cool about the surge of a turbo, right?
Yeah,
the
where it just
sounds
kicks
of
you
a
in the
turbo.
back of the seat slowly.
Right. But then there's, I don't know, like I am so conflicted. Like I walked out of that car and I swear I was having like a crisis.
Yeah.
And I was staring at it.
Do I need this?
And I kept on thinking like, and he like, yeah, I just was staring at it. I had to pop the hood and I just had to stare at the engine.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like it's made me feel
it.
something I haven't felt in a long time about a car. And I can't really quite figure it out, and I'm like, is NA better than turbo? Like, I mean, obviously if I had my dream, I would have a bunch of each car.
Yeah,
but like if
car.
I would have like one project car, one fun, weekend car, like it would be really hard now not to have a high revving NA car.
Yeah.
Especially an inline six, especially with a 6-speed, especially surrounded by in my opinion, a gorgeous, still, like I think the 46 to this day holds up very well in terms of aging. It's not like the 36 is a pretty classic sedan.
Yeah.
But it's aged not the best. But I kind of like it for that reason because it definitely looks its age, right?
It's held its period of time.
Right. Yeah. And but I look at the interior and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could live with that. But the 46, it's like it's kind of in between where you don't have all the buttons and stuff like that are weird and will break on you.
Yeah.
But you also don't have like nothing. It's like this nice mix. You've got a sport button, which is cool.
Yeah.
Which doesn't do much, but it's
and you got heated seats.
Yeah, you've got heated seats, electric seats. So like things worked. And it's like a really good mix of in between of like, and that engine, that S54 engine is
amazing.
Unreal. I forgot how good that engine is. How it vibrates the innards, like it just makes you
got
like
the fizz.
Yeah, it's like the perfect, it's like, you crack open a beer and it's just like, or like on tap, it's just that perfect amount of fizz and it's just bubbly in your mouth and it's like cool and crisp and you're like, wow, there's just something about this that I can't quite put my finger on, but it's just better than any other drink out there. That's what that engine is. It is a cool, crisp beer. It's not like, so like a Supra with a big turbo. That's like taking like, not even a shot, but like a cup, like a red Solo cup of like Jägermeister and just like, it's like, it just forces you to do stuff you don't want to do. But that engine is like a nice beer. It's just, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's crisp and it's perfect.
And like how smooth it revs up to 8,000.
Yeah. And the sound, and it almost makes me not even want to floor it. Like I always wanted to be like 60% throttle just so I can enjoy that sound, like as it carries itself through the RPM
between 4
range.
and 6.
Yeah, just a little bit longer. I just want to enjoy that sound a little bit longer because then you grab the next gear and then you're doing like very illegal speeds. Like I almost wish that car, like I think if I bought a 46 M3, I would buy the base. I would buy a base 6-speed, like no Denon package, no upgrades, because I would want it to stay slower just so I could hear the engine sing for a longer period of time.
And like Hills didn't at that point, you'd still hold the stock intakes down, which is also a different experience, because we've talked about like intakes, like cold air intakes in the
Right.
cars. There's something about that type of sound that also is very rewarding.
It's very rewarding. It's very cool. I also took out our Focus RS for a jaunt last night.
And it needed some love.
No, Rick needed some love. So I'd been driving the STI a bunch, and so I took out the Focus, just because I don't even know why. I'm saying it. The Focus RS makes you feel like a kid. It is the only car that you can buy brand new under $40,000, whatever that segment is. Like, I don't know exactly what's an STI, 40,000?
40, 44.
45 maybe.
Whatever, yeah.
RS is about the same.
Well, like the RA's 50.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
No, I saw one the other day, actually, and it looked really cool.
Okay.
But that's a lot of money. That's a big chunk of change, because then you're getting into like 996 territory. 50.
Porsche Turbo.
Porsche Turbo, me too. Yeah. You'd be stupid not to, because then you go to Cobb, or you come to Rally Sport, and you go and you search, your 996, and you get the access port, and you instantly gain like, what is 100 and something horsepower and like 200, almost 200 foot-pounds. It's stupid.
It's insane what the number of, just from a reflash.
Just from a reflash and basic modifications, you can get insane power, and you're driving a Porsche. You're driving a proper wants to kill you car that is like.
Because here's the thing: if you die in an STI, you're just kind of like,
everyone will make fun of you.
You're going to the curb and you're like, "This is really it." But in a Porsche, you're just like, boom, like grind done.
No, who's the classic in the Speedster? What's his name? Why do I not remember his name?
James Dean.
You are James Dean. If you die in a Porsche, you're James Dean. If you die in an STI, you're my turbo schooled at 10 miles an hour guy.
And you get 10 miles an hour on water.
Yeah, and you get laughed at on the internet. And that's the difference. If you die in a Porsche, you're a hero. If you die in an STI, you're an idiot. Why is there a difference there?
It's just strictly because you got to think about the different
brand?
class of what everything is.
Isn't that funny though? That's really like my impression. Like maybe
you could die in a Porsche 914, which is like 10 grand, and people will still be like, "He died on a Porsche."
Yeah, he went out like a hero.
He went out. He's fine.
Like, yeah.
So I mean, like, there's like, because like with the $50,000 and the $40,000 where it comes to the new cars, like honestly, the Focus RS is honestly the best bet to go with at that point.
I think so too. I really do. And for people out there that say the Focus RS is not, because I actually had somebody here that works here that said the RS is a stupid car. My first question I asked them, like, have you driven one? He said, no. I'm like, then you can't say anything about it. You can hate Ford. Yeah. Because I do. I will be the first one to say I do not like Ford as a whole. I still have not. I like Ford more and more every day. I think they're doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't say that I like Ford. If someone's like, list your top 10 car manufacturers, Ford would not even be close to on the list there. But I do think the Focus RS is one of the best, funnest, coolest, most ridiculous, outlandish, make you smile like a stupid idiot, make you drive like an asshole car that you can buy for $45,000. Hands down, period. It's the best car.
And here's how smart it is. And this is where I actually fell in love with it. Like, I've driven it a couple of times. I'm like, all right, it's a nice car. But when I actually took it up Immigration Canyon and it's 30 degrees and it's got the summer tires on there.
And you think you're going to die.
You think going around the corners and you just feel it calculating. You're like,
but it figures it out. It does. Like, that's what I mean. Like, you think you're going to die.
It's like
you're
like,
I shouldn't be up here.
Yeah.
I should not. And I've done the same thing. And I even went up the canyons specifically and put it in drift mode on the summer tires because I'm like, cool, it's 27 degrees. I'm getting the ice warnings on the dash. This is going to be good. Like, I'm going to be able to do some like low speed drifts. I'm going to get it on camera. It's going to be cool. Everyone's going to be super stoked on me, and I'm going to get a sponsorship. And like Ford's going to approach me and they're going to give me $1 million to drive the RS professionally. But what happened was I became a sissy because I could not go fast enough in the car to get the rear end to come out. Like, that's how incredible that car is. I backed out before the car did.
Yeah, car's like, let's go.
On a cold road with Pilot Supersports that are probably rock hard, I backed out before the car did. And my boss was the one telling me, go drift it. So it's not like I grip that you cannot almost believe, like your mind can't wrap its head around. In my opinion, I hear people that have never driven like a car with downforce, and they drive, and I never have, like real actual downforce.
Yeah, like legit like downforce out on the track, like the GT3 cars and stuff like that.
They're like, well, you have to go faster.
Yeah.
But your brain is like, no, but I can't go faster. Like this, but it's like, no, but you have to, and then you'll get the grip you need. The Focus RS is probably kind of like that, where your brain thinks I can't go any faster, and the car's like, dude, you're at like 7/10.
Yeah.
Just go, like, just keep on, like, and so you're like very nervously, but then you're like, okay, I know these Pilot Supersport tires. I know that when they start to go there, it's more progressive. It's not just snap and you're gone. But like, it's almost hard to jump that mental hurdle because the car really does make you feel like Superman. But then you reach a point where you're like, I shouldn't go any faster, but the car wants to, the car can. I just don't want to because I'm scared.
The only videos that you saw the people crashing it were the people who wouldn't send it and just straight up clutch kick.
Yeah, you can send it in that car. I mean, like, and I can go out on a drift pad, which we have videos of, and I can go just do donuts and, and like on those really small, on a really small course, like a tight course, I can get the rear end out pretty easily. But like I'm talking like sweeping canyon corners. I wanted a video of me like coming around like the S curve up Big Cottonwood. Like I wanted a video of that, like sideways, bring it back in, sideways around the next one. Nope.
Couldn't do it.
Nope, couldn't do it.
All right, so since we're talking about the Focus RS, what about people who can't afford the Focus RS? What would you recommend then?
For how many money?
Let's say 30.
I would probably recommend, like, honestly, if you don't have a brand preference and you want like a legitimately very fun car, I would go buy a clean 05 STI.
Okay.
Or an Evo 8 or 9.
What happens if it has to be new?
Oh, brand new?
It's new.
Fiesta ST.
Okay. Yeah, because that's your second favorite car.
That's my second favorite.
It's funny that you've owned all these Subarus and your two favorite cars
are Fords. And I don't like Fords.
Yeah.
And then we just did a big turbo swap on an EcoBoost Mustang. Yeah. So we've got 2 EcoBoost Mustangs here now with big turbos on it. And those are quickly, like the factory EcoBoost Mustang, I think is a really cool car. Like I'm like, oh, it's fun.
And you've compared it to the Silvia.
Yeah, it is. Like, and I think it's not the same, but it is kind of the same, but it's not the same. And I get it. Like last time I said that, I think people didn't, they're like, oh, well, we can't follow Rick anymore on Instagram. But it is the closest thing that you can get to like a Silvia or something like that, because it's, front engine, rear-wheel drive, turbo, 6-speed manual. Like it's got everything you want. It's got an LSD in it. Yep. Like it's okay.
It's a fun puppy dog.
It's a fun car, but the stock engine is just too peaky. It runs out of breath. There's just it's torquey, but that's about it. So we swapped on these bigger turbos. One of them has a Vargas turbo. One of them has a Turbonetics precision turbo. Holy moly, like that's a proper, like, because the turbos are capable of like 400 and something horsepower, but we tune them at what, 370.
Conservative, yeah.
It's like you've got a good amount of power and you don't want to stress the engine out, but that's the power band is so much better in that. Like it just feels, I'm like, this is how this car wants to feel. I feel like it doesn't want the super peaky power all the way below 3,000 RPMs. It wants like a nice broad power band from like 2,500 RPM to redline, and that's exactly what you get with that. So same with the Focus RS. Like I want to put a big turbo on a Focus RS so bad.
Yep.
But I don't want to go too big. I almost worry that it would be a little too laggy or something.
Well, it's like with the Focus STs that we've driven with the turbos on there
are worthless.
Yeah.
Like we put a big turbo on a Focus ST and it was worthless. I mean, unless you have a proper limited slip and really grippy tires, I would almost suggest like drag style tires. Like you have no traction. Like it just, like first gear, nothing. Second gear, nothing. Third gear, if you're easy on the throttle, you can really start getting some traction, but if you're like too much, then you just nothing. It just lights them up again.
Let go of the steering wheel and you just go to the next line.
Oh yeah, it's almost worthless as a car, and that's why I like the Fiestas, because it's a lot less power, but it's more fun, less power, and it's like a little go-kart with a cage around you, which is really nice. So yeah.
All right. So other one that actually came up is that. Been seeing again, so we kind of had like the genuine STI JDM part, the spoiler that came out.
Oh,
and people were crying about the price of it.
How much is it?
$1,600.
I didn't realize it was that expensive.
Yeah. But then it goes into like the carbon fiber mirror cover. That's almost $200. So it's like, here's the thing, is like, because we've talked about this before, is that there is a certain point and certain limit to where if your wallet can't afford it, it's not for you. Because like we go into like the ARC stuff that we can, like you have a shift now that's $300 that's still sitting in its box.
Yeah.
So I think that if you can't afford it, then just be quiet because it's for someone else.
Well, and I understand people, but how many replicas are there on the market? Probably a handful, right? There's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so I get it. Like I get if you know, someone came out with a part, like when the Rocket Bunny kit first came out, how much was that? $4,000? $4,000
or $5,000.
And that doesn't include paint, labor for cutting up your fenders. I mean, you're an honest $5,000 to $10,000 when it's all said and done. $5,000 if you do it cheap, $10,000 if you get it like professionally done. I get that people are like, I want that so bad, but I can't have it because there's no way I can ever afford that.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to piss on it because screw that. It's like people, you know, crapping on like millionaires or actors or whatever.
Look at that guy in that Ferrari.
Yeah, what a douchebag. It's like, no, I bet he's probably a normal guy. It's just like, just because he has more and you want that, but you can't have it, you know, so you get mad at it. And I get that. But to me, like the cool part, I prefer things to be that expensive. Like, and I might be in the douchebag category, and that's fine. And I don't.
And I know where you're going with this.
Because when I get a car and I want to separate myself from everybody else.
Yep.
But I also want the parts that I want, and I want quality parts. Like I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of like run what you brung, duct tape it together, and just, you know, have a blast in it.
Yep.
But I'm also a big fan, depending on the car, of like run really high quality, rare, cool parts that you're so stoked on that if somebody looked, they're not going to be able to tell what it is, but you know exactly what's on there and you know how cool and how rare it is. And the STI spoiler is a perfect example of that. A $1,600 little lip spoiler.
Yeah.
It's not like some big S201 crazy looking spoiler. It's like a little lip spoiler that's $1,600. I'm guilty of spending way too much money on parts that probably not a lot of people want because it's rare, it's cool, it's made by a manufacturer that I really respect and I really like, and I like what they do, and I'm happy to spend twice as much, 3, 4, 5 times as much for. I could have gotten something that worked just as well. Yeah. Maybe even looked similar, but I
half the price, but
But I want what I want, and I like that. There are people there who will never even look at that part or never buy that part because it costs too much money. And it is a different club. There's a different club out there that, you know, is willing to spend a lot of money for a part that is literally the exact same, but just for the name. And it's just like, you know, I mean, I'm sure your girlfriend, wife, whatever, sister, mom, you know, they know handbags or whatever. It's like a Gucci handbag, or I don't know I always say Gucci, and I don't even know if Gucci's cool anymore, but you know what I'm saying, like Tom Ford or whatever, you know, these really high-end stuff. And the people who know what they're looking at can spot a fake from a real one from like across the room. And, you know, but 99% of people will never know the difference. And 90% of the people would just buy the fake one because it costs $100 as opposed to $1,500. But then there are those people who respect the art, respect the design process, respect the crafting this thing. And, you know, they look into like how it's stitched and where was the leather source from and what was the cow's name and how many pets did it get on any given day, you know, whatever, like all this stuff. But like they really get nerdy into it. And I feel like that about some of these car parts. Like I get really stoked on the craftsmanship and when things are hand built and when they come out of a certain region of the world made by a certain company. I'm an elitist, and that's okay.
And I forget, like Fujitsu Turbo, like they had something small and stupid that was coming out. And like I showed it to you, and you're like, "That's awesome."
What was it?
I'm trying to remember what.
Was it Fujitsu?
Yeah.
Oh, the carbon rear cover, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
the cover that goes over it.
Just dumb little things.
And here's the thing, and this is where I liken expensive car parts to like expensive shoes. It's like you do it because that's what you want to do. But what's the feeling like when there's actually someone who recognizes it and goes, dude, is that what I think that is? and then you guys could just talk about everything.
Yeah, you nerd out on it. Yeah. And it's like it's like that's what you want, is you want that one or two people that you'll ever come across that know exactly what it is. And they might even just give you just a nod, like, that's dope.
That's nice. Like passing by.
That's super dope. Like I was at SEMA, and the one thing that really caught my eye was there was a white STI, and it had a carbon Veris duckbill that was ghost. I don't know what the process is called, but like ghost painted, where it's like a really thin layer of paint and the carbon just comes through. And I'm like, that's a genuine Veris duckbill that someone painted on, and they did like a ghost. I'm like, this is
faded.
Yeah, I'm like, this is one of the cleanest like executions of this. And if I would have met the guy, like that would have been my comment, is like, this is really cool, man. Like the fact that you didn't have a big Veris sticker on the car to let people know that it's like, you just did it, and people who know, and people who don't, like, don't ever care. It just looks like a duckbill from far away, right? It's like, how many duckbill spoilers are there out there now? Like a billion,
tons.
But if you know what it is, you know what it is, and it's really neat. And it's like those little things that, like, I noticed that, but it's like, and then you look closely at it and you're like, wow, this thing fits so incredibly well.
Yeah, and that's why it costs that much.
And the carbon is so smooth. And, it's like, I don't know, you guys can't see it, but up behind me, there's a handmade Life Motorsport carbon rear trunk for a GTR that they wrecked. But it's like, you look into the detail of it, and this is on a race car that they don't care much about, but the work that went into that thing is just incredible. Like the carbon, it's dry carbon, it's pre-preg, they handmade it, they put it in their own oven, they did everything. And there's something about that to me that's very, very, very neat. And I really like that.
Well, it's just like when you go look at the expensive cars like the McLaren P1s and like stuff like that, when they do it, there's the carbon fiber weave matches from the hood down to the fender.
Yeah, it's ridiculous attention to detail and I talk about this a lot, like especially when I'm reviewing carbon parts, because that's a big thing for me, is there's a difference between certain carbon manufacturers out there. And it's like when it comes to the tight radiuses, when it comes to like the funky contours and stuff like that. And it's like, look at the weave. Does it separate a little bit? Does it stay consistent throughout? Because that's the difference is, yes, you can get a cheap carbon fiber piece anywhere and it's going to look 95% there. But if you want that perfection, then you do have to pay more money for it. And if you want it to fit and mold perfectly, and you want it to look like it does in the picture, it's like McDonald's. Like, does anyone ever get
Doesn't it ever look like this big? No, right. It's like this.
And look perfect with like the crisp white and green lettuce and the cheese that's perfect, and everything's like good on it. No, you don't expect that when you go in. But for some reason in car parts, people expect their $5 carbon fiber whatever to look like it, look like the picture that they knocked off from Veris. It's like, no, it's not going to. And then they get mad. They're like, why didn't it look like that? It's because you spent $5 on this piece that was, mass produced in some warehouse in China or something, like it's just.
No, and so now we're going to talk about carbon fiber, and we're going to talk about how crazy it is. The one passion of mine is Formula One. So it's back this weekend. I'm absolutely giddy like a schoolgirl. I was up until 2:00 last night watching them practice. Yes, I watched them practice. Now, with the carbon fiber that goes into it and the special like workings that they go into that, just take a time and look at a modern F1 wing and look on how well the carbon fiber work is on those now. Like you look at a car and like it looks like it belongs in water for all the fins and everything that goes through it, and just like how clean they make it. Like, dude, carbon's come a long way. You look 20 years ago, it was just like crap. It was just pure crap.
But what's funny is when I look at that kind of stuff and I see there's definitely a big part of me that appreciates the work, the detail, the everything that goes into that, and the engineering, because it works. Yes. Right. But I look at it and I'm like, it looks like somebody sprinkled just carbon fiber fins. It looks like some kid, they gave the Ferrari car to some kid in arts and crafts. They gave him a bucket full of carbon fiber bits.
I'm not going to deny that.
He just glued them on, and he's like, la la, it's a race car.
Kind of like one of the things is, so insane amounts of it is like all the technology and everything and the computer generations, wind tunnels and everything that go into it, is to shave off like 1/10 of a second. You're looking to spend $1 million.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Like that's just absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. And that's just how that works. And then in 10 years, that technology will be dropped down to us.
Oh, I do have to say sorry to our YouTube people out there. I made a big boneheaded move. Well, first of all, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube, please do.
Do it.
So I posted up, we got in these Project Kicks rear license plate bolts, okay?
Yes.
And they're really cool. They're like a locking license plate bolt. And I know that might sound dumb, but it's really cool. They're flush. They come with a little key. It's a really neat product. I was very excited to do a video because it's been a while since we've had them in stock. So I did a video, I posted it up, and within a day, if you go on our website, they're discontinued.
Yep.
And I was freaking out because I'm like, I just made this video. I was so stoked on these things. I was so stoked to do this video, and I get it up, and within 24 hours, it's gone, right? The product's gone from our website, and I had a few people comment on it. And I don't want you guys to think that I just bailed on you. I actually just figured out today that Kicks has a new part number for it, and that's it. So we discontinued the old part number. There is a new part number. So I will reply to the comments with that. But so I apologize. Because it was. I try not to make mistakes like that, and when I do, they're usually pretty minor. Like someone's like, "Oh, you said the whatever," like you said tile instead of Turbo Smart or whatever, something like that. And it's
YouTube loves to rip you apart, man.
Oh yes, yeah. If you guys want some entertainment, go to our YouTube comments and watch people. First of all, they make fun of me because I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm old, I'm young.
What happened to you, Rick?
Yeah, like just all these things, or like. I mean, it's just it is what it is, and I get it. I'm like the old guy here, and I'm
You're employee number 3.
I'm like I'm not the cool hip cucumber that everyone expects, but I am genuinely passionate about cars, and I'm genuinely passionate about what we do here. And I think the fact that I've been working here for 10 plus years, I think is testament to like what we do here, and that we're actually like legit. We aren't like some fly by the night company. We're not
We're not here to screw you over.
Yeah, we're not trying to screw anybody over. In fact, one of the reasons I even continue to work here from the beginning, because when I first started working here, I got paid like minimum wage. You know? And but the fact that Nick, the original owner, said, we are like, and he told me this, not even a customer. This wasn't like, he's like, we are 100%. Like if we make a mistake, you fess up. Like you don't hide. Don't, you're like, you're not going to get in trouble. If you make a mistake, you tell the customer you made a mistake. You don't lie to them. Don't string them along. If something's out of stock, try to get a legitimate time frame, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's so refreshing, because having bought parts before, a lot of performance parts before, and I would get strung along all the time because I would buy something and it's like, oh, out of stock, will be in stock in a week. Cool, I can wait a week. So I put my money down, wait. 2 weeks go by, I send them an email. I don't hear back for like 4 or 5 days. Send them another email. Finally hear back. They're like, oh, we'll get that in 2 weeks. Okay, I can wait 2 weeks. 2 weeks go by, and then it's just rinse and repeat for months and months and months. So it's like I was actually, it was a breath of fresh air once Rally Sport came along, and and we actually kept things in stock, and if it wasn't in stock, we had a system that we would take it off the website. I mean, and granted, it was rude. It was like me and Ben like just manually doing it, but it was it's old school, but it's like that's how we ran, and like that's how we've always run our business. And I don't even know how I got started on that. Like not to collectively pat Rally Sport on the back, but kind of
like we're here,
and we're giving away our STI. A lot of people say it's a scam. Yeah, it's a scam.
No. Actually, one of us are gonna win it, and we're not gonna tell anyone.
Oh, dude, I would. So I've been driving that car around a lot.
Oh yeah, you've had a lot of personal time with that car recently.
Yeah, and I don't even know. I would take it out to go get pictures of it. I would just go drive it. Like I've just been driving that car like everywhere, and I forget how. So you want to know how the STI is better than the Focus RS?
No.
The steering. Like going back and forth.
Yep.
Like it's easy to forget if you drive the Focus RS, you're like, wow, what a brilliant car. Wait a month, drive the STI. Wow, what a brilliant car. Drive them back to back, like put 100 miles on each of them.
Yeah.
The STI's steering is way better than the Focus RS.
Yep.
And the seating position.
Yeah, you hate the seating position in the RS because it feels like you're just cocked back a little bit.
But I hate the seats in the STI.
Yep. But the seating position is great.
The seating position is phenomenal. Well, for a sedan, like the BRZ FRS is the best seating position. Then like the STI, it's good. It's a sedan good. Like it's good for a sedan. And then the Focus RS, it's like, what are you? It's like, you know, the seats that the bus drivers sit on?
Yes.
That's how I feel in the Focus RS.
Yeah.
Like it might as well have the springs on the bottom with the air.
I have to have the sunroof open for me to drive it.
Yeah, it's quite ridiculous. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up. Rally Sport Direct, we're having a sale, 10% off. Use code TAKE10 for 10% off your order.
That ends next Friday.
Some restrictions apply. Method race wheels are on sale, 20% off. So if you need some awesome wheels for the street, for rally, for race, for whatever you can do in them.
And they're flying off the shelves.
And they are flying off the shelves.
Legit. And then like, that's actually not a term. Like literally like the amount of like people who are buying Method racing wheels since we put the sale on is insane.
We actually, to give you an idea of how much we like Method wheels, I have 4 sets.
Yeah, 4 sets over there.
They're going on our personal cars. Just waiting to go on our personal cars because we're like, I don't know, I'm pretty pumped on them. I just like them. I think they're just a legit, like, okay, I get it. There's the kids, not kids, I'm sorry. There's gentlemen out there, ladies and gentlemen, that like the big, wide, stancy wheels, and that's cool. This is like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Like a normal wheel that's strong, lightweight, inexpensive, like a good quality. It's like, bravo. Yeah. And I'm stoked that people are buying them. Anyway.
And it's a testament to if it can last on a rally car.
It can last
you can hit a pothole, you'll be fine.
Yeah. I recommend tires on it, but you can hit a pothole. Race Comp Engineering, $100 gift card for struts or coilovers. Airlift up to 20% off, and then Michelin BF Goodrich mail-in rebate if you buy some. So if you are looking for some, and I mean dead serious when I say this, the best tires in my personal opinion, all-around tires, not race tires, not whatever, the best all-around tires, Michelin Pilot Supersports or the new PS4s if your car is has the right size, because the PS4s are replacing the Pilot PSSs, the Supersports. But I guess I didn't realize that it was like so hard for them to create a new mold for tires, and like I didn't realize like how much went into it.
Yes.
But that's why if you're wondering why don't they have a PS4 for my car, or P4, what do they call them? 4S. 4S. I'm sorry.
It's like 4S. iPhone 4S.
Why don't they have a 4S for my car? They probably will. Just give it time. They're just slowly, I guess, it takes them a long time. It probably costs a lot of money for the new mold and all that kind of stuff. But those are the best tires. And then in off-road stuff, BF Goodrich, the KO2 tires, that's like kind of what everybody runs, either that or the grabbers. But I personally like the KO2s better.
But then also for the track, the Comp 2s are actually pretty damn good.
For sure. The Comp 2s are really good. So we've got some really good deals on tires. And then I think that's it. And
that's about what we got right now.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, like honestly, like we have probably like 170, 180 brands that are on sale right now.
Let us know how you like the new format. If you guys can tell the difference, I
feel there's a difference.
I feel there's a difference.
And if you're on YouTube, a like is awesome.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, a like is awesome. But yeah, let us know how you guys like the new format, what you thought. Because the reason we did this is because you guys, like we wanted a better show for you guys. We wanted, kind of a weekly roundup of like kind of industry news and just more of like our niche, kind of like what we're stoked on, what we're stoked on at Rally Sport, what we assume you guys are stoked on. But if you do have any suggestions, drop it in the comments below. And next week we'll be back, and then hopefully soon we'll have a podcast out. We'll of course let you guys know once that actually gets launched, and hopefully we'll be able to have more cool guests on as well. That's all. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good one.
Bye.